much to the surprise and the chagrin of my family and friends, I'm going to continue talking about money on the internet. So as you know, I did a no buy year last year, where I updated you guys almost every month on how my spending was shaping up and how my debt payoff journey was going. I sat right here on this bed in this room talking to you about how January went of 2024. So of course, here we are, end of January 2025, and we're back. Am I the same person? I don't think so, but that's probably a good thing. It was a completely life-changing experience. I can say that completely. Almost every minimal or frugal or sustainable challenge that I've ever tried or done has been a really enlightening and life-changing experience. So why am I surprised? I shouldn't be. But back to the moral of the story. Like many people my age, a millennial, I got saddled with a lot of debt that I didn't even know I was accruing due to lifestyle or just life. And I felt like I was collecting them like the freaking Infinity Stones. So I decided to halt the process by being a crazy type A person and making a ton of spreadsheets. You had to put up with some really shoddy graphs and some sketchy numbers, and for that, I apologize. You also haven't yet received a full review of my no buy year or a December updated video. I'm really killing it this year. But I just had to jump in and share with you what is happening already in 2025, or continuing the series. It isn't technically a no buy year. Tried it last year, did it, changed some habits of mine, but this year we are still in the process of paying down a bunch of debt and getting to a savings place that we feel good about as a family of 3. But this year we have had a massive glow up. I'm gonna show you in a second. So let me officially welcome you to My Month in Money, January edition. No hiding anything this year. You guys are going to see it all. How? Why? Because I have a secret weapon. But I can't get ahead of myself with a super long intro. So we are going back to the segments that you know and love to keep us organized. Things will reveal themselves as we go along. So our first and maybe the best section, the positive moments. So that secret weapon I mentioned just a moment ago, that is a major positive moment. That secret weapon is this absolutely bonkers spreadsheet. You thought last year was nuts? Whew, take a look at this mamma jamma. Y'all, I gave up. I tried for a year to make everything by myself, and it took me hours to prep these videos. My money meetings with Dan took so many hours. It became a giant pain, and stuff wasn't matching up. So on New Year's Eve, I got a little squirrely and I went on Etsy because I heard that people had made budgeting spreadsheets that you could buy on Etsy, and they would be immediately downloadable and you could use them as you see fit. If I was a smarter person, I would invent one of these or make one of these as a $0 side hustle, but I'm stuck here being an artist or whatever. Ugh. And that's real annoyance with myself. The person who created this is brilliant. So anyway, Dan and I spent all day New Year's Day putting in our information into this spreadsheet, following the step-by-step instructions that this genius has laid out. And it isn't too late. You can go get yourself one. So if you're on this journey of trying to maybe do a no buy or get your money together or trying to budget, but you've tried and it just hasn't worked. I'm not sponsored. Hello. Do you see how many subscribers I have? It's not real. But I spent a whole year trying to do it myself because I told myself that's what I was going to do. But that's just not my strong suit. It's just not something that I'm really good at. So I'm outsourcing. I do that for my business. The stuff I'm not good at, I hire somebody else to do so that I can spend the majority of my time doing what I'm good at. So I decided, why am I not doing that for my budgeting? Duh. Trust. If you know me, I don't tell you to buy anything. But if you tried budgeting on your own and it's just not working, hire it out. I like the spreadsheet method because it's super hands-on. I still have to sit there and plug in my numbers and think about the money that I'm spending every single day, instead of just letting an app do it for me. I have to use my actual brain and critical thinking skills to decipher the information that's in front of me so that I can understand what it means and find solutions to things that I don't like. What I like specifically about this one, and what you might look at for yourself if you're looking at budgeting spreadsheets, I really like the customizable breakdowns for bills. So I put in specifically the bills I had, not generalized categories or anything like that. We've got expenses, we've got savings goals, subscriptions, etc., your debts, all of it broken down really cute. Oh my God, it's so good. So ours comes with that whole instruction page on how you plug that stuff in, where it pulls to, all the formulas. This person is so smart. I wish my brain worked like this. So, moral of the story, I will be pulling from this for our chats. No more shoddy graphs made by me. We're gonna look at their beautiful graphs with numbers that are perfect. I'm so happy. Best $13 I ever spent. Oh, and by the way, what's cool about this is that Dan is in on it too. So it's not just my stuff, it's a whole household budgeting. It does not include my business stuff, FYI. And if you're that new here, welcome, you should subscribe. I'm a photographer in Atlanta with a small business, and I've got a couple of cuties that work for me. We have a space, the whole 9 yards. Okay, hi Otis. Oh, say hi Otis. We're gonna get to you here in a second, sir. You can like just see his tail. Anyway, okay. So in terms of the business stuff, I've got it all pretty separated. I'm not trying to pierce the corporate veil. So I just use business money for business stuff. It's all separate. So this stuff is just for our household. I'm just budgeting my paycheck. So isn't it pretty? We're still getting to know each other, you know? And each month that goes by, I'm sure I'll be using more and more of the pages to compare like month to month. So in January, we were pretty much just using the monthly spreadsheet. Also positive, we almost have our taxes done. It's the end of January and we're already almost done because my accountant is a magician and makes it so freaking easy. So find yourself a good tax accountant. Otherwise, good Lord, what a month. Now it's time to talk about the less positive moments besides the worldwide obvious ones. I got in a little car accident. Woohoo! Everyone's okay. It was a slight fender bender, and the fender being bendered was mine. We had some ice and snow in January here in the South, and I fell victim to some black ice on my way to a gig. Ugh, I'm so sad. Luckily, it was stop and go traffic. The car that my car slid into was stopped. Mine was going maybe 10 miles an hour. It's fine. I have insurance. Thank goodness. I'm fortunate. My deductible is still $500 for like $4,000 worth of work that ended up needing to be done to my car. And I also have a rental car because my car has been at the shop for maybe 2 weeks and that rental car is $20 a day. Hey. Wouldn't need a rental car for anything but work. So the business is paying for the rental car. I am paying obviously for my deductible to fix my car, but that won't be paid until February. So for January, it doesn't really matter, but it was a thing that happened in January. And at least I know it's coming. Also, Otis over here decided that it would be really cool to stop eating for a week and a half. So $530 later, we now know that he's fine and that nothing was actually wrong. Good thing he's pretty. So both of those things are like kind of like weird out of nowhere things, right? Like you don't plan on having a car accident. You don't plan for your pet to like need medical attention. I'm not overly worried about these things happening and continuing to happen. But I also had an emergency fund. Something I didn't even have last year. So the stress of being in a car accident and the stress of my cat not eating the same week was so much more minimized because I knew that I had the money to pay for the deductibles or to pay for the vet care. And that amount of reassurance and calmness is something that I will never undervalue again. It's a small like reaction and it's a small check-in in terms of like gut feeling, but the emotion of like being able to focus on him or being able to focus on my safety or the other person's safety in a car accident, it's small, but it's really, really important. And I'm so grateful that we were able to accomplish that, not only for our household, but for myself this past year. Are we fully funded on either of those? No, but it got us done. Oh my God, can you please move on to the next section so we can start hearing about your budgeting and actually what you spent for the love of God. The goal update. Here we are. For you newbies, this is a good section, it's fun. But like, what goals? You had like very specific goals for 2024, i.e. don't buy anything. You failed, but it was entertaining at least to watch. Okay, YouTube, your sass is next level, calm down. I am not limiting myself in terms of not buying books or not buying new clothes or tracking how much I spend very specifically on paint or home goods or baby items, mostly because the spreadsheet's gonna do that for me. It is more about testing the lifestyle changes that I made last year, like not buying books or new clothes, that I honed last year and seeing how well I do under the precisely tuned instrument that is this weapon of mass debt destruction. Baby reminder, I had 3 debts last year that we were watching. A personal loan that my husband took out that covered household things, a loan to my father-in-law, and a medical bill for Emmett's delivery. Father-in-law and medical bill didn't have any interest, so we stopped paying those in order to focus all of our resources on the personal loan and paying that off as soon as possible because it actually had an interest rate. So we paused the payments to my father-in-law with his blessing and gave a huge middle finger to the medical debt. If you don't know about my completely messed up delivery, you can go watch the final pregnancy vlog where I discuss it very mildly through a haze of drugs and massive postpartum depression. At the beginning of last year, February, very specifically, we had a household debt of nearly $69,000. And that doesn't include the house. And savings across all of our accounts was about $21,000. But over the last year, we were able to make a $30,000 difference in debt to savings at the beginning of February 2025. We have a household debt of about $50,000. Not great, but better. Still doesn't include the house, obviously. Our savings, however, is almost at $42,000. That's way better. Getting that emergency fund together. So that's where we stand. But generally speaking, the goals are, and I mean ginormo goals, are to pay off the debt and fund the emergency funds. And I think that's probably everybody's goals. So I paid off my portion of the personal loan last year, or last month, I guess. Was it January? I had the money in December, but I waited because the holidays and all that spending. So that big goal that we were following last year did basically get completed. Yay! So next, I am taking the whole debt to my father-in-law. So I'm going to pay him back the $9,200 we still owe him, so that Dan can focus his resources on paying off the rest of the personal loan, which is basically what he owed on it. Another goal is to try to save up at least a more closely fully funded emergency fund so that then I can start saving for a trip to Thailand. That's right. I can hear Caleb screaming at me right now. You don't get to go on vacation if you have debt. Well, I've been trying to go on a meditation retreat for 4 or 5 years now, but they keep getting taken away from me because of COVID and a house and a baby, and I'm sick of it. So I found a yoga retreat in Thailand that looks like super great. Pretty affordable, and we're gonna go big or go home. It's so incredible, in fact, that my husband, who does not do yoga, wants to go. Great! So I hope this inspires him to pay off his debt, build up some emergency fund savings so that we can spend some money and go to Thailand together. So no eating lunch out. No movies or anything that aren't from the library. I'm hoping Dan will get so excited about this that he also cancels his DoorDash subscription, which I didn't know anything about until we filled out this spreadsheet. See? I'm learning so much already. So the goals have really always been the same and will remain the same. Pay off debt, get money. In terms of like snowball or avalanche, I'm guessing, I don't really know which one I'm doing. I'm paying off the ones with interest rates, or meaning the ones that I actually have to pay off. You know, we're paying off the personal loan, we're paying off the car, we're paying our father-in-law back, because morally that's the right thing to do, but I'm never gonna pay that medical debt. Never gonna happen. The house is the only current debt that I actually have. No car payment, no student loans. See, I had it so good, and then I fucked it up. But I think I've stopped the dominoes from falling. I think that I am going to have a better life now that I've figured out that our spending was crazy and I've had this lifestyle adjustment. Fingers crossed. I mean, we did it for a whole year. We could do it some more. And a note on the savings. So I didn't really know how far behind I was on retirement savings until I started educating myself on personal finance. Yeah, so I have maybe like 6K and Dan has maybe like 10 in retirement. And we both just have IRAs. Neither of our employers, myself or Dan's company, have 401k systems. I just opened a SEP for my self-employment pension, only because I kind of just figured out what that was. No one's helping us. We have to put in all of the money. So it's tricky, but we have to figure it out. Nothing will make you want to save money more than having a kid. Because like before, I didn't worry about emergencies because I had Dan or I had my parents that I could rely on. But now that I am the parent, someone is relying on me to be able to take care of them. So if we were able to do $30,000 in a difference savings change from last year, who is to say I really can't turn it around this year? That I will have more in savings than I will have in debt easily, right? Let's dive into that actually. I never really explained that to you before now. Let's dive in. Let's get into the debt. It's time for the debt roundup. But shouldn't you have like no debt? Like, wasn't that the whole point of 2024? Okay, one more sassy remark out of you, and I'm gonna tie you to a chair and make you watch Buy Nothing on repeat on Netflix. So let's talk about those debts that I talked about before. The personal loan started at $30,000 of July of 2023. We are at $16,564.23. We pay $1,000 a month. The minimum payment is like $600, so we are paying it down faster. Everything that was mine on the personal loan, I've paid back. So it's on Dan now, and he continues to do that over and above payment, which is great. His truck, I don't even know what it started at, but he's got about $16,000 left on that too. We've talked about him not having this truck anymore and selling the truck. He needs a truck for work. He does not need that truck. It's such a big pain in the butt to do any of that though. So like, is it just cheaper to just keep it? I don't know, but he says he can handle it for now, so it's fine. My father-in-law, we borrowed $12,000 from him when we moved into our house to help with down payment and to redo all of the floors in our house because they were gross. We borrowed that in 2022. We owe $9,200 left because when we moved in and I got pregnant, we paused everything so that we could make sure we had money on hand for all of that. so much good it did us, but it's fine. So I'm paying him $350 a month. These minimum payments, y'all. Yikes. Mortgage. That's right. I'm including the mortgage in our debt roundup. It's a debt. If we can pay it off early, we will, but not at the expense of our retirement accounts. So we took out the mortgage at $312 in 2022. We are at $305.5. We are doing extra payments now on principal and escrow because we always get boned by property taxes increasing by like 200% every year. It's freaking insane. We always have a shortage. So we're trying to at least have the money available to us and get used to maybe a higher payment. And we noticed even last year when we were making, it was just like a tiny little bit extra every month that we were doing on the principal. It made a huge difference over the long haul on interest. So now we've increased that by a lot because we feel like we can and are gonna try to just chomp away at it. And then the medical bill. We started somewhere around 13, we're at like 11,000. The fact that we owed 13,000 for Emmett's delivery, I'm assuming is mostly due to a massive clerical fuck up. And so I have no intention to pay it. I paid a bit and then I stopped, and I'm so irritated about how useless my insurance became and how traumatic the delivery was physically and mentally for me and him. So we're just gonna let that sit. It's going to collections and I don't give a fuck. They cannot garnish my wages. It's no longer going to be apparently reported to creditors or my credit report. So I have absolutely no incentive to pay it. Cool. So those are all the debts. No student loans, no credit cards, no car debt for me, just honking big bills, just these big honking bills with big minimum payments. But what about the savings? Okay, so we're prioritizing the debt, which is, depending on who you ask, maybe the best thing, maybe not the best thing, whatever. I'm putting $250 a month into a high yield savings. The house puts $100 a month into a savings account, and I put a little bit into my IRA. Dan doesn't have any plans to add to his savings at the moment because he's got this huge $1,000 debt every month. Like, I totally get it. Dan did take his bonus from the holidays though and spread it around to a bunch of different savings accounts, including Emmett's college fund, our house account, and some other accounts of his. I think this is where we're gonna get in trouble because we are in desperate need of some of this compound interest, and we're just gonna not be getting it if we don't start putting something more into there. But right now it's just not in the budget. Okay, and now next month's goals. Simply put, what did I not like about January? Now that we have it like super laid out and clear, and what do I plan to do about it? One thing is that my eating out was kind of crazy, but I didn't get a haircut last year. So like I needed to get a haircut. You know, there were a couple of things in January that I just needed to get because I had kind of denied myself all of last year some of these things. I needed to buy a new toothbrush. Things needed to be replenished in January. The bigger thing on our spreadsheet is that we spent more than we made, and that might be because of the gifts, bonuses, whatever. Big, huge, massive minimum payments. There's something weird with my paycheck that I have to go figure out. In our February planning meeting, we are planning to spend more than we are planning to have income in February. So that's a problem. But I was interested for January to just kind of like see where my tendencies were. After a whole year of not buying things, did I have the impulse to immediately go out and like do a TJ Maxx haul? Not necessarily. So I guess next month's goal is gonna be like, don't spend more than you bring in. Save lots of money. Not specific enough. But my income didn't really get any better. So I gotta give myself a raise. I gotta talk to my boss. What a jerk. So we have our new baseline. We have a beginning of 2025. We've got a debt amount. We've got a savings amount. How can we decrease the debt and increase the savings? That's gonna be the goal. And also, now that we have you all caught back up on where we were with the debts, we will get more into the spending and comparing January to February in the next video. So thank you for watching. I'll see you in that one. Bye.